Okay, so we have a couple interesting things happening astrologically, and I did get a little vision about it. I wouldn't go as far as to say a vision. It was a real quick cartoon of a guy in like almost one of those rides at Disney World where it's like a log that's been like chopped into so you can sit into it, and he's going down a river. And the energy of the past since the solstice, potentially beyond that, but ramping up since the solstice, has been like going straight down at a fairly steep grade, one of those rides. And I do see it as being a water ride because of emotional components to the changes or accelerations that we've been experiencing. And this today is like he hits the bottom of the hill and kind of starts to plateau, or at least take this momentum, and it's still moving forward, but it's not at the same greater steepness as it was. These stupid AirPods are so distracting for me because they continue to make this little noise of like connected, disconnected. And I don't like them. I don't think they're healthy. I think that they do something weird to people. But I don't think that I'm really able to be heard on the other videos where I don't use them, so hopefully it just makes it easier to hear me. That's all. I'm burning Palo Santo. I'm sitting here. Okay, so what are the transits that I'm talking about that change things today? Also, forgive how congested I sound. I'm still kind of sick. I'm getting better. And it's hot. It's hot today, and I didn't want to turn on my air, so I'm in a little top. Virgo's moving into Mars, which is nice. That's a good placement for Mars. Virgo being an earth sign, Mars being about action and getting things done. I see it as being conducive to productivity, and it would be a good time to figure out who said this. I heard this in a forecast by the astrologer Chani Nicholas. She said if you look to where Virgo is in your birth chart, then it would inform you as to what you have the potential to work on or perfect at this time. I don't even know where Virgo is in my own birth chart because it's not a prominent placement for me, but it's something that I might look into. Nonetheless, it's a time to be able to, like, what I see and feel is like you're going to get responses on things. The cooperative elements in your spaces and in your circles are going to be working out. They're going to be responsive. It's like everybody and everything and all the energies around us are also wanting to get things done and move things along in a positive and beneficial way. So that's good news. The other energy that's like super, I'm loving it, I guess, is Cancer and a Mercury and a trine to Neptune. But I think Pluto is doing something with them as well. But it creates this dreaminess. It creates this dreaminess and this ability to, what I said before with like hitting the plateau at the end of the water ride, just ride the wave out at this time. It's like permission to rest, permission to not use daydreams as a form of escapism, but as a way, like a workshop space. I've described before, one of the ways that my visions work is almost like different dashboards where I feel like I can throw things up there, or like things will come into them, and instead of being like a complicated idea to try to communicate with words, I can say it's as if, and then describe a visual to make an example out of something. And it's like we have a heightened access to that daydream, mental workshop to be able to use it for something. And by that I mean being able to diffuse the heaviness or the chaos or the complications of the emotions, being able to kind of detangle them and let them be transmuted, or what's the right word? Potentially alchemized into, chill on your paws, please. Chill. Leave them alone. Be able to alchemize the density of that emotion, because the emotion, there's not a way to kind of parse it apart and look at the finer details of it. This energy, I think, is like allowing us to do that, but it's almost like we want to do that, I think. That could mean a bunch of different things. And I'm going to pull cards, but I like it. I think it's like this respite. What does that mean? Rest and respite that we've been looking for or needing. By the way, I looked up injunction because that came through the other day when I was talking, and it's like a warning or an order, and I think that's interesting. Short period of relief. Yeah, exactly, respite. That's what I meant to say. It's like a relieving... it's a relief. I also got this morning the need to do grounding again, so the dreamy energy can be Neptune, Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, being able to ground ourselves so that we can still be in the day-to-day, in the physical, root chakra and sacral, and tiger's eye here is what I felt called to pick up today, as well as carnelian. This is one of my favorite crystals that I have. It's just a good stone, shaped like a heart. To be able to balance out that dreaminess. Hydration. I'm like a little just like fuzzy and soft and sick and recovering and like, you know, finding my way today. And part of the message is that it's okay right now, right? Respite. Respite. I wonder how you actually pronounce it, but respite is how it came through to me. It's okay to kind of be in the middle of things and allow things to change and allow yourself to go to a place of daydream. And what I was going to say is that the emotions can come on like more like tsunami or tidal wave. And I'm not talking about any one thing in particular. I just mean of the past few weeks there's been certain changes or illuminations or epiphanies and realizations about different parts of our lives or different methods that are no longer functional for us. And there is kind of emotional components to all types of realizations along those lines. And so now it's like we can throw them up into the dreamy workshop, the daydreamy workshop, and they don't remain a dense object that you cannot sort through when they go into that space, especially under this energy. They become something that can be, what I said before, like diffused through different practices. So also it's a good time to, you know, connect with music, if that's playing it or if that's listening to it or writing it, or art or journaling or anything that moves energy from one form to another. And by that I mean inside the mind, inside the soul, inside the unrealized to out of yourself. You're taking something that's from within energetically and you're moving it into a creative form. That's another way to, what I said before with sacral chakra, is connected highly to creativity. And orange, the color, carnelian again, tiger's eye. When I came here to my living room to sit down and do this reading, one of my cards was already out on the floor, which is interesting, because I take pretty good care of them and I like to keep them nice and, you know, in their box and with my other cards. And the card that was out was the King of Cups, which I thought was really, it's kind of sweet and lovely. I took it as a little sign. Okay, I'm actually getting that I'm not going to start with my Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck. I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot first. Bear with me. I'm in like a dreamy, just a dreamy energy. I had really interesting dreams. I was in this almost like the same place that I dreamt about the other night. This like Home Depot-esque community of makers and but I think I was like almost in realty. And every day I would go around this village that looks like a Home Depot, and I would like collect different objects that I wanted, like a curated selection of tools that I wanted to exist with, and also like food. Like I was grocery shopping, but there would be like a book of matches, and I'd put them into a grocery cart and I'd walk around with them, and in the morning I would start again. And the people in this space were also solar plexus chakra as well, okay? Not just sacral and root, but all the way up to the solar plexus with that yellow. It's a funny headband. I got a 6-pack of these on Amazon because sometimes I don't want to style my bangs, but they have a lot of height to them. I feel like they make me look like I'm trying to be on Bridgerton or something. But anyway, all of the chakras, of course, work together, and when the energy moves from one up into the next, it changes color and quality. That's how we have a full energetic system. So you could do visualizations around like imagining red, garnet, ruby, bright red energy in the root moving up into the orange, like flaming color energy of the sacral into the yellow of the solar plexus, which is about willpower and self-confidence. Okay, what do we have here? Wow, very sweet. It says love begins. And do you see all of the green? I talked about this when I was in the car the other day. Green is heart chakra energy, so that's even more lovely. Root, sacral, solar plexus, and then into the heart. But the waters are yellow here, reflecting the solar plexus energy. The number on this card is 1. So I'm going to read from the book on these, and they're quite shiny, so excuse the glare. The next one we have is 4. Interesting. I pulled this card one of the only other times I've used this deck, and it's Foundation and Achievements. So, I mean, as this correlates to the traditional tarot, I've pulled the 4 of Wands several times where you can see 4 wands, and there's no humans in the other illustration. It's more of like a stable kingdom. It's like this resting point, and I'm again seeing like the water ride. We reached this plateau, okay? There's a stable place here. Material harvest, that's nice too. All of these are very on par with one another, and we'll go into it. I'm going to take one more. Authority. I've literally never seen this card before. Never seen it. We have 2 4s. That's 8. That's infinity. Spiritual strength. Again with the green. This one's on the bottom, and that's a number 9. And we have a 9 here as well. So we've got some doubled energy, some mirroring energy. Give me a minute while I find the meanings to these. This is probably going to be a long video. I know I'm always like, oh, I'm going to make them short, and then they're like an hour and 30 minutes and stuff, but this one's not going to be short, and that's okay. I'm not like capable of doesn't matter. I don't have to explain it. I just know it's going to be a longer one, and whoever finds it is meant to find it, and that's okay. All is well. All is well. All right. Your cup is about to overflow with joy, happiness, and positive feelings. This is the first of the emotion cards, and therefore signifies that a new love opportunity beckons. This doesn't necessarily have to be physical love, but could also represent the passion and devotion for an idea, a goal, or even a new creative endeavor. This is a perfect time to open yourself and your heart to the higher vibrations and loving energy of the universe. When past issues are resolved, when forgiveness for others as well as yourself has been attained, and when your heart is truly open and ready to receive, the new roads leading you toward love will be revealed. Yeah, okay, so I'm getting a message with this around the idea of unconditional love. And a lot of the times people are more ready to treat other people better than they're ready to treat themselves, because we're hardest on ourselves in most cases. And I'm also getting this like I see these like wooden dowels, okay, or like wedges that are like the blockades between us giving ourselves unconditional love. And they're things from the past, or they're things like somebody almost being like, yes, that would be great except for these things, or like I could do that except for these things. They're the excuses and the exceptions. Basically, the things that we're unwilling to forgive is what it boils down to. So this is a really good harbinger. I kind of also don't know what that means, but we'll go with it. It's a good sign. It's denoting the fact that these types of little dowels, right? Again, I'm seeing the chakra system as like pools of water and things being removed from them so that things can flow, okay? This is also emotional flow. And unconditional love being extended to yourself, because really, 1555, so 555 as I look up, which is radical change and positive transformation. I'm not going to read from the Foundation and Achievements card again because I did the other day. But I like how this card includes that it doesn't necessarily have to be a partnership form of love. It can be within an idea or within the self, because it really frees you up to see how things are mirrored in your life and how things can occur at the spiritual level with the collective energies, but then they manifest in many different parts of your life. You know, you can see, if you start to pay attention to these things and these cycles, you can see how they manifest within the lives of the people around you. Again, even if those people are not necessarily expressing, you know, those things to you, it's just what you understand from being connected to people. Material harvest. One of the laws of the universe is what you sow, you reap. This card states that this is your time to reap the harvest you've worked for and so rightly deserve. This last physical card denotes self-mastery, self-sufficiency, independence, security, and the art of enjoying what you've strived for. You've done the hard work, learned the lessons along the way, and used them to prosper in all areas of your life. The number 9 also means endings. Not that good fortune necessarily stops, but do honor yourself as you finish up or celebrate the completion of projects. This would be the perfect time to look ahead and use the wisdom you've gained to think about what else you want to achieve. Consider smart investments and ponder ideas that show profitable potential. Congratulations on your success. You've earned it. Yeah, and I see this as correlating with kind of like, you know, it's talking about the lessons that we've learned along the way. I take that as to mean throughout Cancer season, really, since the solstice. I swear, these AirPods are driving me crazy. I almost feel like it's like psychic interference and like supposed to be distracting me or something, like a little nebby. It's so annoying. It's like they disconnect and reconnect and disconnect. They only do it when I'm recording. They don't do it when I'm like walking the dog listening to music. So that's why I'm like, why? Why? See how he has a yellow thing around his head and I have a yellow thing around my head? This card represents the masculine qualities of leadership, logic, strength, wisdom, and power. When this card emerges, it acts as a teaching tool, and in doing so, it is encouraging you to develop or reignite these qualities and tap into the masculine aspects of yourself. Other traits also included are good reasoning and problem-solving skills, being grounded and learning to develop strong mental control over free-reigning emotions. Oftentimes, this card appears to symbolize a father figure or an individual of wise authority who may be present in your life. It could be someone of high influence in business or a prudent friend who uses logic and reason to create a positive outcome. Ask yourself whether it's time to take on and emulate similar qualities. Now is when you must act like a leader and exert your will by incorporating form and structure into ideas, plans, and foundations. Foundation and achievement. It's time to stop talking and act in order to achieve what you must. Use the qualities and character of the authority card so that when you need to make a choice, you approach it from a place of wisdom, rationality, logic, and grace, rather than one of foolishness, belligerence, greed, or self-centeredness. The way in which you acquire, handle, and wield power and authority is now being tested. And I also see a connectedness here. These are both solitary figures, right? I'm sorry. But they're talking about material gain and also planning. This correlates with the Emperor card in the traditional tarot. So I'm seeing all of these things. This is like, and the King of Cups was out when I came here to my little space. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, it was out on the floor. Okay, the Emperor, but then also the Love Begins. There's like a softness and a loving quality that's tempering what it's talking about. Leadership, action, not doing things from a place of greed or self-centeredness, but being, what the Emperor energy is about is like, it's like healed masculine energy. It's not like toxic masculinity as it's expressed a lot of times in you know, society, as people don't necessarily have the best role models, or there's a lot of wounding that happens in men, especially from a young age, where they're, you know, told not to cry or express their emotions and they shut themselves down. And then the process to open that back up, right? It's not, there's a lot of strength in vulnerability. It's not a weakness. And I'm seeing this being like a safe time for that type of healing to take place. But what I was going to get at is that it's also asking us, when it comes to this not just being, you know, love connections, but new ideas that can create more abundance, that excited challenge. That term came out in a reading not too long ago, and it's coming back up for me now. There's an excitement with thinking about like a great task or a thing that you want to do or achieve and how you're going to get there. There's excitement around it if you believe that you can do it. You will feel like the weight of not being able to accomplish something. If you don't believe that you can do something, then it will feel heavier and it will feel discouraging. But it will feel exciting if you actually believe that there's a way to get there. And a good leader knows that he can connect with people and use other people's support and knowledge, and that he isn't, you know, the only one that has good ideas. He's not the only one that knows how to do things. So there's an energy of collaboration here as we kind of heal and soften to a new chapter, when we can welcome just a sense of gratitude too for what we already have, but what we can create. And okay, beautiful. Another message that's coming through, I'm gonna hold the amethyst while I say this, is like, it goes back to the unconditional love thing. So a lot of people are like, it kind of feels weird to just let things be okay. Especially right now where there's so many like troubling things happening in the world. It almost feels wrong to let things be okay, or to be in a space of like, maybe I am a little happy, you know? It's okay to sit with that right now. Feel what it means to just be at peace and not know everything about what's going to happen. But, right, have a sense of faith that car driving down the road, more will be revealed as you go. And then, ooh, this is, I cut the deck and I got 15, which reduces down to 6, which is all about persevering through challenges. This is the Devil card in the Major Arcana, Temptation. Crazy picture. It's always kind of affected me. And underneath it we have material and spiritual prosperity. And here's a 6 again, okay? So underneath the temptation and the things that we are leaving behind, or that we've been trying to, and doing a reasonably good job of doing so, right? And I said it's not like one fell swoop. It's not like you leave things behind and then they're behind. Sometimes it takes multiple attempts. It takes a sustained application of energy to change habits. It takes a reinforced choice that you make each and every moment, each and every day, each and every week in order to do things differently. But like the spicy whooshingness, this type of thing, that's crazy. I did this strange illustration where I like cut out a piece of a Polaroid picture I took of myself, and then I glued it to a paper. This was like 2 nights ago when I got home. And then I like drew around it, and it had these lines going back and forth between like this, like, you know, this light trail between the space and the silhouette that was empty in the Polaroid frame from where I cut the body out, and then my body over. It's kind of hard to describe it anyway. I'm getting something off of that. A need to integrate the self, right? The person who has unconditional love for themselves because they see their own existence from a higher perspective doesn't need to feel this pull between themselves. Like they're being pulled. They have an integrated integrated self. So you're capable of being in the present moment. People who have addictions are not really capable of sitting in the present moment, which goes into what I was saying with like, just practice being okay with like, maybe things are all right. Maybe I'm at peace. Maybe it's okay to be happy. And here we have hope with all that good yellow energy again. And I was going to record a video when I was in Italy. I opened up the windows to my room and I looked out and I saw this beautiful goldfinch like bright yellow. They're really this color. It flew by and my eyes followed it, and where it took my eyes, I saw this yellow butterfly. It's the kind of butterfly, I think you call them swallowtails? No, those are blue. Whatever, it looks like a monarch, but it was yellow, that kind. So it brought my eyes to the butterfly, and then the butterfly took my eyes back this way. And I was like on this yellow journey, because it was the yellow bird, then the yellow butterfly, and the yellow butterfly flew over, and then there was a yellow house on the horizon. And I was like, this is a perfectly beautiful example of synchronicities and how somebody who's not awake and aware and looking at the little, fabric of the universal quilt fluttering around you would just be like, they wouldn't see any of that. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not there for them. It just means that they're not like, oh, yellow, sign, symbol, bird, butterfly, transformation, flight, communication, movement, a home, stability, like deep into the interrelated, nested meaning of the world and the way it presents itself to you. I was going to make a really quick video about it, and I tried to, but there was like a tech issue with my uploading, and I was like, forget it. But I'm bringing it up now because, again, that's that yellow solar plexus energy of, wow, maybe it's okay to feel good about myself and what I'm capable of and what I'm doing. That's solar plexus energy, and like, maybe I can accomplish what I want to. I'm not saying that I can do it alone, but I do have people that I can talk to who also want to partake in, building something. Maybe I've got a good idea. Maybe there's something that I can accomplish with the people around me to make my world and their world and our lives better, and then impact other people's lives. Like these are the types of things that we can build right now with material and spiritual prosperity. Because when there's spiritual prosperity and you have a sense of self and a sense of comfort within like your own world, that's palpable, and other people can feel that, and then it can very easily be translated into the physical. But with the Neptune trine to Cancer and Mercury, I'm seeing that this is all, again, this is of the dream space right now. Yes, we can start to, with Virgo and Mars, we can start to have those conversations and be like, oh, you want to get things done? Cool, I do too. Let's have a conversation. But today, there's a dreaminess, and it's like, this is the beginning of being able to do that. How nice. I'm going to use my second tarot deck, the one that has the reimagined illustrations on it, after I pull some of my gold cards. What do we got? The Lovers. Nice. Air energy. Gemini energy. 6 is the number again, so we have 6s coming up for perseverance at this time. But what I like about using 2 tarot decks is that you can get the same card again, and I'd like to see if that happens. So the 8 of Swords has come out. Okay, I'm not like shocked that the Devil energy came out from the Psychic Tarot, because that's been a huge theme as to what we're dealing with in these transits, and it's also just a huge theme of life, right? To be physical is to live in a world of temptation and ego, and being able to not only realize cycles and patterns within yourself, but break them or not. Okay, so the 8 of Swords coming out is kind of a continuation of that theme, but I'm going to continue to pull some more. Okay. Thanks. I'm curious. Ha. Ha ha. Some similarities within that. Okay, okay. So perhaps the stuckness is backsliding energy, self-sabotaging energy, not being able to sit in the like, okay, maybe things are good. Maybe I have this potential and this ability to move forward and create. And because we have never done that before, or because it feels foreign and therefore more challenging, like to move in a different way. All right, that's a ton. So let's see. Even though certain things may be bad for us, we may choose to go back to them instead of going forward when things are so promising and you have no reason, other than your own like self-doubt and fear and damage from the past. That's the evidence that's causing us to go back potentially and revisit old cycles and habits, okay? Escape to a new place, to a different, right, run away from destiny. You can't really do that. All you're going to do is take detours, keep yourself stuck and suspended. Do we have the hangman? No. Wow. Sixes all over the place again. We've got Six of Pentacles and Six of Swords. But okay, this is like a charitable energy again, being able to extend yourself to others in need. And here's a good thing to talk about. Sometimes people think that, and I talked about this in a different video when I was talking about lack mindset. You think that you don't have enough to give to others or offer to others, but really money and the energy of abundance is a current. That's why they call it a currency. And to be able to, I'm not saying give away everything you have and you have an obligation to, give to other people, but it does allow for the universe to see that you are somebody who, if money is channeled to you, you will use it to help other people. That's an important and powerful thing to communicate to the universe, and if you activate the currency nature of money by being able to, I'm not saying give money to other people, that's not what I'm saying. It's more of like a metaphor of being able to know that it's safe, no matter if you have fear or worry about what tomorrow may bring, or if you're going to have enough to pay for the bills or whatever it is. Life is real expensive these days. It's super expensive to exist. It just is. It's challenging. It's very challenging. And so fearing and planning and then clinging to and coveting our material things without being able to circulate that money is just going to keep us in a space of what I said before, right? A stuck cycle. And you want to kind of activate the flow of abundance by being able to, and this could be like not necessarily giving to somebody else, but ideas have wealth currency attached to them. And this has to do with the doodle that I did the other night with the Polaroid of myself. I was basically like imagining wealth and money in space and time. Red root chakra energy of security and stability around the border of this card. As this like torrent, like if you think about the stock market or what else? Man, there's a lot of weird stuff happening with like cryptocurrencies and all these different things. I don't really buy into any of that. I think it's kind of silly and distracting. But I also think that there are some, I don't want to go there. What I'm saying is I saw this sea of energy around wealth and abundance in the universe. And it was almost like the universe was showing me how fluid the energy of wealth and abundance is. And if you tap into it and you try to, I use my twisties as a tool basically mechanically, because my mind attaches to that twisting energy really readily because I feel it like in my bones. So I was thinking about moving in a twist that could conjure, right, and almost whip up. I'm seeing an egg beater. If you've ever made waffles with egg whites, you beat the egg whites until they're like, they make stiff little peaks, and then you use that. They make really fluffy waffles. Okay, so using the energy of wealth and abundance to kind of like beat or whip it. Excuse me, it's funny. Whip it into like a flow or a force, right? I'm seeing also a whirlpool now of something going down a drain. If you try to stop that, flow, there's a power to it and a momentum to it. So just trying to conjure that energy into a vortex that's aligned with myself and what I want. Just trying to magnify and manifest abundance into myself to be able to do the things that I want to do. So when I doodle, I make these pictures, I use photos of myself in the artwork to create. There's a lot of private artwork that I do that's not meant for other people because it helps me manifest to make things. again, what I was talking about as far as taking the energy of like these emotions that we've been feeling, you can put them up into the dream space. That's a safe place for them to go. It also helps for them to, I'm seeing a fan kind of unfurling where there's different shades to the emotion. There's different, like you can actually see it for what it is. And then it's healthy to transmute it through a creative act. That's going to help you change things in your life. It's not just like, oh, I'm stressed, I need to journal. I'm gonna sing a little song. It's deeper than that because it has to do with the changing of hands, changing of energy, changing of forms. That's gonna help you process energy so that things don't get stuck. That was a good bit. So just to summarize, we're talking about moving the energy of abundance, root chakra, sacral chakra, through yourself. So back to the idea of ideas also having value and currency and merit, to be able to share your ideas with people that might be able to also be inspired by those ideas, add their own ideas to it, and then you are both, when there are more people co-collaboratively trying to activate an idea or a plan, there's more energy behind it, because we all have, we're all like, we all have chips, we're all, chess pieces. There's more players supporting a certain outcome or idea. That's incredibly powerful. The energy of collaboration is incredibly powerful. Okay, so then these three, all swords, being this limiting, self-sabotagey backslide energy still, I'm going to get a clarifier on that, but I also just want to highlight that the King of Pentacles and the Hermit came out. So I'm seeing this as like spending time. Oh my goodness, my thing is dying. My battery's dying. I may have to pause the video. Taking time out and adopting this type of mentality of stability, even if you don't feel it, even if you don't have it, you convince yourself that you do, and you do that by being like, making sure that you are not coveting things from a lack or fear mindset. And this is Four of Pentacles. It's about stability too. Both of these cards are about stability. But for some reason, my interpretation of this, right, she's gripping this and she's looking at it like it's her only pentacle, right? She's stepping on these ones because she doesn't want them to get away. So there's something there, whereas this woman, they're over her again, like the yellow, right? Like a part of faith. She has faith that they're here. And she's more focused on the people that she's connecting to. This also speaks to karmic scales again, with this kind of little balance that she has, this level thing. Sometimes we feel like it's not our job to take care of other people. It's not. But you want to move in flow and in tandem with the relationships and the people in your life, because when we do that, we're balancing karmic scales, if that makes sense. And if I need to say more on that, I trust that it will come out at a later point in the reading. Give me a second, because I need to get my charger. Okay, so the Hermit again is the energy that balances out this need to connect with others and collaborate and potentially share ideas and develop ideas alongside people. I see this as being very aligned with the Neptune trine to Cancer and Mercury, and I'm being drawn to the skull in the corner here. Memento mori, a symbol of death. Memento mori is like skulls in ancient art history, right? You are reminded of your mortality. And I saw something today. It was this guy, and he was talking about you being on your deathbed and knowing that you're breathing your last breaths and feeling like you'll never do the things that, for better or for worse, you are dying, and you can feel that, and you know that you're about to pass away. And then he's talking about this angel of light coming into the room and giving you this chance to come back to today, whatever day it is for you today. and start living today and do things differently if you want to. How would that affect the way that you're living? I'm also getting this need to, like, within that, it's like, well, shit, it's like heavy, right? Mortality and life and all these things and these burdens and these material, this heavy, right, material stuff that weighs us down. To be able to employ, and let me see if I can get a card to confirm that. Yeah, Queen of Cups, to let it be lighter, right? She's like an antidote to this heaviness of, like, it's not like she's like totally untethered from reality. It's an important part of reality to be able to be a little bit more soft around the things that we're handling within our lives, because life is meant to be fun and joyful ultimately, and this energy can bring that back to you and back to the 4-222 as I look up, which is a, you know, kind of like a divine love and partnership number, and we had the Love Begins card from the Psychic Tarot. And the Queen of Cups is the counterpart to the King of Cups, which was the card that was out when I came to my living room. So we come full circle with all of that. But the Hermit has like a little bit of a serious tone, and I think that when things are serious, I think it just has to be, that's okay, right? He's got a staff, and I see that as being similar to the Wands. The Two of Wands is coming out again, as we've seen before. It's at the bottom of the deck. Seven of Cups, okay. And then we've got Justice. She's, I don't know how to shuffle, guys. I just don't know. No, it's just a continuation of certain themes. So I'm going to switch to my other deck now. What I was going to say is that the wand, it represents, like, you know, inspiration and this creative energy of, like, passion and being motivated by something. So the seriousness, you know, where I feel that the seriousness of life meets the loving joy of life is in that passionate space. And that can also be a metaphor of, like, passion being like sexual passion, being like merging of, like, masculine and feminine energy. Like, it's where two things come to meet to balance each other out. You know, ideas, if they're totally serious and, you know, masculine, they're not going to have the fluidity or the true, like, the ability to flex with the true aspects of life. The sun, gorgeous. Isn't that a totally interesting illustration? I think if something is going to have legs or be able to flourish in the world, it has to have a little bit of both, right? The ability to be playful and light, but also grounded and serious. Where do those meet? In the middle, with, like, how, you know, the motivation. Both parties. People who are fun-loving and, like, you know, Peter Pan syndrome and never grow up, and they don't have any groundedness, and they're living life for here for a good time, not a long time type energy. They're serious about that mission, okay? But then the people who, like, do it the right way, you could say, or have a lot of intentions when it comes to their savings and investments and planning for the future and all these different things, they're serious about that. So there's this meeting point that I see as being the wands, and it's a good time to take both of those quotients, right? Two of swords, plan in both ways. Like, what's the practical nature? What are the steps that can be taken to make something happen, regardless of what it is in your life? I'm speaking vaguely so that you can apply it and take it to resonate with whatever it is that it might kind of speak to within your life right now. But then also, why would I want to do it? What's the fun of it? You know, what's the good in this? It can't just be, again, with that card. Where'd he go? Can't just be for greed purposes. There has to be this, like, benefit, right, to the world around you. I'm not saying you have to be altruistic in every single thing that you do and give away all your money. I'm just saying that when you're in alignment, not necessarily will you benefit absolutely everybody around you, but you won't hurt anybody, and your presence in the world and the way that you move and the ideas, the things that you create will naturally kind of be of benefit, not to all people, but to like-minded and similar people. And that's how you kind of move the energy along and continue to magnify and create, because more people will come into your life when you follow your North Star, to help you. That's how the universe works. It matches us up, like attracts like, it matches you up with things that can help you along in the direction that you're going. And then, of course, if you do not choose to go in a new direction, you will not get new energy coming towards you, because you're stagnating what wants to be in a flow state. And that's a choice. That's where free will comes in again. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, again, this the Three of Pentacles, as it's depicted in the other deck, is collaborative with other people, and they're sitting down and they're looking at plans, almost like architectural builds for the stained glass they're creating. He's doing it on his own. So I kind of like that, because it's like showing the need to work with others, but it's depicting it as a solitary figure, the hermit, the need to think deeply at this time in our own little daydream workshop space as to what we've gone through, what it means to us, what we want as a result. Beautiful. The Fool card has a pelican here, okay? So in the other deck, it's that little dude going out with his dog, and it's like a leap of faith, and it's a new start. 0. This is the first card of the major arcana that is like the beginning of the journey. So that's lovely. And again, I'm seeing the thing, it plateaus. We're at this place now. It's a new rhythm. It's a new tempo that the emotional waters of Cancer season are taking us through. It's almost like we're like, okay, I get it. Life is highly emotional, and things are always changing, right? Change is, in fact, the only constant. And so I can go back into some type of, it's basically by that logic, it's never too late to start something new and believe in myself. Sorry, I'm getting a message. Okay, whatever. I don't like to be taken out of my flow. Distractions. Another solitary figure of Pentacles, Pentacles being the material world. What can you build? How you want to create an art project, or your home, or perhaps a plan to do something. I really like this, because the flower heads, the center, there's pentacles in there. So seeing merit and value in kind of like the beautiful things of your life. Again, I'm getting like the alchemical ability to synthesize different things and ideas and see new paths forward that we haven't before, where it's like, wow, I'm allowed to be happy and at peace, and I do have good ideas, and I do have people around me that might be interested in talking about these things the way that I do. Oh, the backsliding energy. I'm just like thinking about that again. 8 of Swords, 2 of Swords, 6 of Swords, and the unconditional love of self, okay? The way that you would look at somebody and be like, well, they didn't know any better. The way that you would be nice to a child about the mistakes that a child makes, you wouldn't let it slide. You would discipline them and try to tell them why it wasn't okay, why it wasn't appropriate, why it wasn't respectful, how they could have done it differently. Help them to understand, this is how that person might have felt based on what you did. That's kind of how you educate and discipline children. You want them to understand and learn the error of their ways. And it's okay to let children know that you're disappointed in them, but that you still love them. And that's the type of thing that we extend to other people in our lives. But we're a lot less willing to do that with ourselves, because we blame ourselves. We're fairly self-punishing. It's just natural, that's kind of a theme in a lot of people's lives. And being able to release that, because all that does is keep you kind of, running away. A few things came out here. We have the 4 of Wands, okay, and this is that foundation and achievement card from the other deck. It's stability. It's that beautiful sense of like, I'm also seeing King of Pentacles and stability. Wands being the the passionate idea, the thing that's gonna, ooh, fun, fun, fun. The thing that's gonna get us to meet in the middle and balance out our energies is like the idea. What's the point? Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? There's a lot of unlimited creative potential within that, and it can be intimidating, and people can be like, nah, I like my life the way it is or whatever, but there's just so much. And I love the illustration here because you see these, they're like the way that they're these concentric circles, kind of showing that there's different layers and levels to ideas. They're different colors, they have different tones and temperatures. These things aren't simple. They're woven together with intention. You can choose to do things differently than you've done them before, than other people have done them before. It's all about your willingness to consider that and open yourself to that. And I'm just really loving that we have such a balanced spread, which is showing me a balanced amount of energy to pull from within the universe, within the astrology, but from within as well, from within ourselves, to offer to these ideas and visions. We have the High Priestess and the World. So like Mama Mystery and these big completions. Things are meant to be. Wow. Wow. I'm going to pull up a picture, in fact. I'm going to pull up a picture real quick from my phone. Oh, come on. You see how this is like, there's like a lion. Focus, would you? Lion and a goose. It reminds me so much of something that I saw on Instagram. Sorry, hang on. Thanks for your patience. It reminds me of this. And it says, one day we'll be homesick for this hellish landscape. I think that's kind of funny, and I think that's kind of cool because a lot of people adopt a very naturally negative mentality about the world, and my stance on things is that the world is trying to get people to be negative. Not the world, like the natural forces of the world. Those are the things that are going to help you come back to the beauty of the world. It's more so the programming, right? The things that are chosen. There could be any type of content on the news, but instead it's always like war, shooting. Like take a step back and look at that. I'm not saying it's not important to be aware of those things. Totally is. But it's the same thing. It's the same shit, different day. Someone's gone missing. The legislation is happening. It's going to change your life radically. These super knee-jerk things that are really influential over people's emotions and therefore decisions about how they feel in the world. And I think it's what's contributed to a lot of people being shut down because it's just simply too much. It's like, well, how, what can I do? Can I do anything at all? There's something beautiful in a landscape of, duality where Two of Pentacles is here as well. Duality, right? Choices. You could take I'm also seeing this little meme that I saw, that place, that crossroads that you reach in every single moment with infinite directions, everything that could go wrong or everything that could go right. You have the opportunity to see things one way or the other in every moment, about everything that happens to you, about everything that's said to you, about everything that you witness. And a lot of times, the things that happen are both and. Again, I'm thinking about the disciplining of a child and being like, the child could have done something wrong, and you can tell the child why you think that they did something wrong and that you're disappointed in them and that, they may not have understood that they affected somebody else in this way, but you still love them. But their life is still going to be beautiful. Again, going back to like masculine energies of being shut down and then having this reclamation for like healed energy where men or the masculine essence of a person, right? You can want to do things and take charge on things and do it, but from like this place that's like balanced out with emotionality as well, and understanding of the fact that you can free yourself. You can free yourself from the things that you've done in the past, or I also see this as being like a stuckness of idea and choice. Two of Swords, not being able to make a choice, and indecision. He looks a lot more happy with his ability to choose, don't you think? I kind of see him as like just like a jester, like chilling on the outskirts of the castle grounds, maybe a sunset time. There's like a little bit of a mystical, magical, swirly energy coming off of his pentacles, which for me indicates what I was talking about before, where abundance can be kind of like swirled out, conjured out, whipped and spiraled into your favor, and your idea is going to be the vehicle that allows that to happen. Anyway, I'm kind of seeing this as like, people are so, one way or the other in this polarized, hellish landscape, but, one day we're going to miss this hellish landscape. It's kind of a blessing to be able to live a life and be in physical incarnation today. It's a cool thing. How cool is it that you get to discover and explore the nature of reality each and every day? And it'll never run out. Queen of Wands, we love her. Passionate and creative. It's almost like this ethereal, like, allusion to a woman. It's not even really a form, and I love that because it is making me think about something I said when I was in Italy, where I was talking about like when I travel and when I'm in a safe space to be able to like fully expand my aura and go into like sorceress mode. I feel like I'm not just my body. Like it's like I can get into a sense of synchronicity and consciousness of like the way the trees feel, the way that that person feels right next to me. There's like this bleed through where the firm boundaries of her body and herself and her power kind of bleed into all of the other colors and energy. And the bounds are blurred between who she is and what surrounds her. And I knew that this would happen, which is why I wanted to use the deck again. Okay, we have the ability to replicate cards and get a little bit more of a confirmation on what we're being asked to do at this time. And so within all of that, there is a need. Everything starts within the self. Being honest with the self, having clear conversations with yourself, cultivating that unconditional love for yourself. Those are the activities of the week, we'll say. I mean, should always be kind of happening. Again, it's not one and done type stuff. It's not one and done type stuff. I was thinking the other day too about how I'm like, everybody is their own little genius. Everybody has psychic gifts. You just have to realize them. Everybody has the ability to kind of formulate their own religion and faith based off of like how they connect with, what they connect with. And I was realizing that that may not be true. But I do think if somebody were to find this video and watch it, then it's probably true for you. I don't think it's true for everybody. I kind of believe in NPC theory. Non-player character is what NPC stands for. And there are, I don't know, experiments you can do around NPC theory. Like some people are just background players. I don't want to diminish the humanness of anybody's life, but some people simply aren't ever going to like awaken to bigger truths or ponder things at a deep level. That's not what they're meant to do. That's not what they're like. It's interesting, you know. Anyway, I'm just kind of like amending what I said, where it's like everybody can do it and feel it and be it. Maybe if they wanted to, but by nature of having so many different people in this infinite expression of energy of people incarnating and dying and, you know, families carrying on different energies and whatnot, it just simply won't happen. Not everybody will. That's not necessarily superior or inferior. It's just a different way of life and looking at things. Exciting. This card says jump in, and it's beautiful because it has this splash in this universal cosmic thing that also resembles, you know, the eye of God or this iris or this pupil. Andromedon energy, adventure, say yes to change. this is bringing back to mind for me like the idea of something that is, it's crazy, it's the same card that came out. Yeah. What I was talking about before with like tempering this, like I can take my dreams, what I want to create, who I want to be, things I want to change, blah, 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 whatever it is in your life for you, seriously, but still allow it to be playful, okay? The other one that came out is I'm sorry, and we did have this the other day, okay? So this, for me, is still speaking to being able to release, I'm sorry, again, with couplets and mirrored energy, but also like death and rebirth, end and beginning. Snake energy was coming up for me again today. I put on my snake earrings to honor that. But I'm sorry is always coupled with forgiveness. It's almost like they're bowing to each other, okay? Two parts of the self. The duality. Again, I'm pointing at the yin-yangs in this painting. It could be like the masculine and the feminine energy, the feeling and the knowing. This one says, I'm sorry, and this one says, I forgive you. And then we have the 7-star sisters, birthing creations, tapestry of life, and expression. So I'm going to read from these, and then I'm going to conclude. I cannot tell you how irritating it's been for these silly little AirPods to do their silly little disconnection. Like, it's just distracting. Andromeda is a spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan star seeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable, they have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow, to find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides. This card is here to encourage you to do the same. Perhaps you have a significant goal or opportunity ahead of you. If so, you're being guided to jump in. Don't wait for permission. Don't stall until you feel ready. Take a deep breath, a good old run up, and jump right on in. Life bends for the courageous, and courageous is what you're being called to be. You're already facing the right direction. The only thing left to do is leap. That's lovely, because it affirms that, like, sometimes we're like, are we allowed to want the things that we want? For sure. You stop waiting for permission, basically. In fact, we have a lot of evidence, but sometimes we use self-doubt and we stack up illusions to keep ourselves stuck because of the fear of having to take that leap, as the card is talking about it. And as it's saying life bends for the courageous, I talked about that when I said, like, talking about activating a flow within your relationships, but also like finances and abundance, like showing the universe that you want things to move by moving first is pretty major. Things may not always be smooth sailing. You'll figure out the details as you go along. Life on Earth rarely is smooth sailing. However, it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail with glory. And once you know that, you can navigate any sea, ocean, or storm. Yeah, and I mean, like, this also speaks to the fact that, like, what are we really afraid of when we don't want to do things or change things? There isn't a whole lot to fear when you're secure within yourself, because you know that you'll always be able to pick yourself up. You know, even if it leads to immense pain and devastation, that's a teacher. And there's strength in being able to heal from things that don't go to plan, because that's always going to be your springboard to, you know, what you want to do now or next. It's just, it's that things are still moving, you know, and that you weren't afraid to try it all in the first place. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability and find a way to be calm in the chaos. That speaks to the quote that I was talking about last week or the week before about finding a way to be comfortable in the discomfort. You're never gonna, if you're waiting for the external world to be like, everything's good now, you're good to go, then you're never gonna take any steps, because that's unrealistic and you can't control the external. You came to Earth to truly live. Now take a good run up and leap of faith. How can you be more adventurous? How are you being called to jump in? And then we have the I'm sorry. I'm just going to read it again quickly, maybe not all of it. We're living in divisive times. When we're hurt and triggered, we tend to see things as a personal attack rather than an opportunity for healing. I mean, I was just talking about that. Like, we're triggered by so many things in our lives, but then they cause us to kind of shut down and avoid. Triggers are calls to look deeper, to look more closely at why it's a trigger for us, because that's a little patch on your body and your soul body that is sensitive, right? It's triggered. It's like how you would be like, ooh, like it's like it hurts, don't touch me there, you know? There's a reason for that, because there's already a wound there, something that you haven't healed from. If we are to find true peace and unity, we need to drop our defenses and see things outside of right and wrong. This has to do with the unconditional love of self again, self-forgiveness. As souls, we intrinsically remember unity and yearn for it here on earth. Perhaps this is why it feels so painful when we experience the opposite. It's crucial to remember that we can't bypass reality, pretending that unity, love, and forgiveness are already here. You have to go through the process of being able to anchor that in, and that can be challenging. That can be hard. It speaks to the courageousness again, too. Perhaps you're having to jump into a certain personal cycle right now of healing in order to get to this area of having option and choice and being able to move ideas forward and free yourself from the past. So the jump in, right, it's like you could be having to jump into some hard truths again, with like all of the hard truth energy that came out in the readings at the beginning of Cancer season. Because the thing about Cancer season is that somebody who has prominent Cancer placement is like, yay, we get to swim in our emotions and like be in the depths of all of this. But a lot of people who shut down their emotions, it's a hard time to continue to suppress things. So hard truths ends up being a theme at the beginning of many Cancer seasons, cyclically as the calendar turns and as we carry on in life. It's a time when a lot of people feel like regeneration. A lot of people are excited about the summer, but just naturally, depending on where you live, in terms of the weather and the different step that life can take as we move through the seasons. But it can often be accompanied with like discovering new types of emotional truths, in short. So the 7 star sisters, these are new creations that want to be born. Beauty that's yearning to be woven. New consciousness that's longing to be breathed into life. If you draw this card, you're being called to surrender to these creations, to usher in a new era of consciousness and do your bit in weaving the web of life. This is the card of the artist and the midwife. You're being called to ponder questions. What wants to be birthed through you? What new creations are whispering in your ear? What beauty are you being called to make? Creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. Again, I'm seeing the chakras and sacral chakra, solar plexus, root, all important to clear and tap into right now. And that can be as simple as bringing an awareness to them and letting the light and the color of the red, orange, yellow, and go ahead, go all the way up, go to the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. But, this was a theme, a few different videos ago. Like the need to strengthen the base of the trunk. If you're a tree, you're strengthening like your core and your foundation. Creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. They occur when we find ourselves flowing with the rest of life. Earth is renowned as a planet of manifestation and creativity, and yet so many of us have forgotten how to create. Literally, which I was talking about, like, letting our ideas kind of bloom and blossom in this place where, like, it's okay to see the multifaceted nature of our complex emotional states right now, but then kind of having them flow out of us in some type of manifested thing, not to be like, I wrote a poem, but to have it change form. Yeah, I think a lot of people have forgotten, or maybe don't, that's not true. We have a lot of really amazing creators and artists and musicians in the world today, but some people have forgotten how to create when it comes to like life, right? A lot of people live in a sleepwalking autopilot state because they don't think about their ability to create with the matter of energy, create within their life, create themselves inside their life. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing ourselves as artists, creatives, and poets. Yet to be human is to be creative. Creativity is part of your true nature. Perhaps you're being called to surrender to a creative project, such as a new business or a book. Or perhaps you're being called to weave beauty in your home or the way you cook. Regardless of the end result, you're being called to express yourself through your creativity, to surrender to the creative projects that both scare and excite you, to find a way to weave beauty back into everyday life. For where there's creativity, spirit and soul are present, and the world needs those qualities more now than ever. What creations are you being called to birth? Okay, I do want spirit animal. I do. Today, for me saying like, this is just going to be a long reading. That's just what it is. It's a good day to be in this like dreamy connected energy. I could probably go on for 5 hours doing a reading, you know, and continue to say new things, or at least the same stuff in a different way, which is my whole thing, because I think as long as you can continue to reimagine stuff so it doesn't get stale, so that it might connect with people differently and resonate in different ways, then I'm still kind of processing, even if it's redundant, it's still kind of a new reimagined way of integrating the things that we're talking about, feeling and thinking right now. It's part of my creative essence is doing these types of readings with the cards, sitting in a space of almost like, you know, divination and kind of connecting the dots between what's happening astrologically. That could be a message for somebody, not necessarily that you are a tarot reader or an astrologer, but seeing the disparate passions and the different things that you like to do in your life or that you're good at as not being as separate as you think they are, and allowing there to be space in your life for multiple things that you like to do at different times, being moved to pursue things in an intuitive way. So maybe you're called to do something one day and then the next day, and not judging yourself and being like, well, nothing's gonna come of it. And that's so funny, because this was at the bottom of the deck, and then I shuffled and it came back out. So it's Moth Spirit. Surrender now. And I'll read from the book, but I'll just get one more too, or however many want to come out. Yeah, I mean, with what I'm talking about, I see it as like surrendering to the inner, right? Your soul knows more than your brain, okay? So we get these inner nudges, and sometimes they can make our brain or our mind or our thoughts, the way we feel, like uncomfortable, because it's like, but that would require this, this, and this. That's unreasonable. It's unrealistic. It takes it back to the idea that we haven't healed from certain things, so that we don't fully love and accept ourselves like we would with, you know, a child and a child healing. And there's a need to surrender to that, okay? And this is not the same as surrendering to the inner nudge that is doing an addictive thing. That's not the inner nudge of intuition. That's not the cool slate at the bottom of the riverbed. Those are the water skimming bugs at the surface that keep saying, come this way, you know, that help you feed a distracted energy instead of coming back to a sense of self. So it's saying surrender not to those distractions. Hope everything's okay. Send angels. Just one more, please. This one? Yay! It's a lion. I quite like lions. Lions and butterflies. Lions and butterflies and bears. Right when I said bears, I was thinking about, what is it? Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Is that from The Wizard of Oz? Yes. Lions and butterflies and bears. But okay, I'm just going to read these real quick too. Again, with a 9, we had several 9s denoting kind of the end of a cycle, moving into a new beginning, but this one says take time out. Also, brown bears are incredibly resourceful, right? They can do all sorts of cool things. I saw a video of a brown bear scaling this tree to get to the top of a osprey nest. And I watched it like 4 times because I was like, that is so cool. That he even knows there's eggs up, you know, just resourcefulness. But also, somebody who's resourceful knows when there's a give and take and there's time to rest and time to flow. Magic works through you. Scarab beetle spirit is here too. Anyway, that was just really cool what I was saying, and then how the bear was at the bottom of the deck. Excuse me, I'm sorry that I sound unwell. It's also like just big, like chest congestion, throat congestion. I know that I'm sick and I need to take care of myself, but I also feel clearing happening in my throat and heart and sacral chakra right now. And sometimes when those things happen, they happen like on a deep level where a lot of stuff is being mobilized and purged out of you, and it can result in exhaustion or physical sickness. So just be mindful of that and take really good care of yourself right now if that's what you're feeling as well. Moth Spirit asks, what is guiding you right now? Are you in alignment with Spirit or pursuing something or someone with so much tenacity that it has become a compulsion or addiction? Are you so intoxicated by a potential relationship or opportunity that you can't think straight? Hard work and dedication are virtues, and love, of course, is a beautiful thing. However, when Moth Spirit appears, it is time to consider if you have gone over the edge in a relentless pursuit. Workaholism, overeating, perfectionism, or addiction to certainty, or even to a person, may be your current vice. The form of your addiction does not matter so much as awareness of the consequences of remaining persistent when moderation is needed. Let go of your excessive energy by channeling it in more than one direction. The fire burns hot and you do not want to be engulfed by your passion to the exclusion of all other pursuits that matter to you. Now is a time for surrender and radical acceptance so that your drive does not cause you to flee or to fight. Spirit wants you to release your need for certainty and control so that you can relax into a more balanced way of using your Moth Spirit energy. Banish the shoulds and musts so that you can enjoy what is as you allow for what might be. Moth Spirit can be intense, and honesty about your own compulsive tendencies is needed right now. It is too easy to switch from one addiction to another, distracting yourself from the discomfort of uncertainty and the thoughts and emotions that arise when you aren't single-mindedly pursuing a goal. Moth Spirit calls you to practice moderation in all things and recognize when you are headed toward the light, but are really heading into a fire that will cause burnout. Why are you so resistant to letting up? Could you be avoiding difficult emotions that you need to feel and release? Now is the time to do a fearless inventory so that your addictive tendencies can be toned down and rechanneled into enthusiastic activity in moderation. You are not a machine. Listen to Moth Spirit's message that a change is needed to support your well-being. Maybe deep down you know you have become too attached to something or someone. Let go of your need to control the outcome and allow yourself to remember the many ways you want to channel your energy. To relationships, to work, to giving to others, to self-care, and to all the other pursuits that you value. Interesting. I see that too as like an honesty with self, seeing things for what they are, being able to take your energy and what it's talking about, put it into multiple pursuits instead of just one thing, if that's what's happening. That can also lead to disappointment, right? If you attach or hold too tightly to one idea or one person or one thing. I'm not saying you can't commit to one person, but if all of your energy is fixated on one thing, right, it's unhealthy. Because we are expansive beings that have the potential not to focus on many things at once, but be creating, right? I'm seeing a life wheel that has like social life, health, career, and these different domains. You can't reside too fully in just one. And now we have Lion. Be generous of spirit. A healthy ego means you ease God's order instead of edging God out. Lion Spirit's appearance is a reminder that you have been given the gift of pride and a healthy sense of your worth to express your divine, authentic self in a unique way. You are both the king and the queen, secure in your prosperity and wisdom, and generous of spirit as you help others. Take pride in your ability to serve the king and queen. I literally said that earlier, by the way. You know, like being able to balance those two. You are both. being able to serve from the heart. That goes into, again, with this guy, the Emperor, too. It's not healed masculine energy, which luckily the world is, seeing more and more of. I said this in a video long ago, but I feel like people misunderstand that, like, feminism, it's not that people want for women, like, I've heard, like, the fear around, like, men I don't even know where this is coming from, but men being like, women want to take over, and that's not what it's about. It's just that women offer some type of oracle and ability and wisdom and insight that men just don't have. They're not wired to have it. That's why they need women. That's why these energies work in tandem. There are certain things that men have that women don't. But the expression of masculine energy on the planet for some time has been distorted, okay? And so coming back to a place where it can offer itself for what it is, which is led from, like, love instead of greed. Hubris, if you will. Okay, contentment with what you have right now allows you to use your resources wisely as you give to others in ways that educate, heal, inspire, and delight. Be proud yet humble. Practice gratitude, and you will find that the accolades that come to you are no match for the joy of knowing what you have been able to do for others through expressing the bounty of generosity within you. I'm getting Six of Pentacles again, that ability to give. Lion Spirit knows there's a great savannah before you and many who will benefit from the healthy expression of your unique set of gifts if you choose to work in partnership with Spirit. All your relationships will flourish as you express your worth and generosity of Spirit with humility and kindness. What a blessing you can be to all. That's so nice. That's just so nice. That's so nice. And I love that I feel like, even though I said maybe this won't appeal to everybody, maybe not everybody does identify with being like a starseed or feeling like they are kind of like an alien born into this world, with a lot of senses and weird things going on. That might not apply to everybody, but this I think does, right? I think if you're a human on earth, you can be a blessing to everybody around you. How beautiful is that? I know so many people in my life that thoroughly bless me on an ongoing basis, and I'm like, it's such a blessing to be connected with you. I'm so privileged to have you in my life. That's such a nice thing to feel for people around you, and to strive to offer that to other people. How can you be a blessing to other people? It's not about like, I want them to like me, or no, it's not like that. Okay, it says be proud yet humble. Practice gratitude, and you will find that the accolades that come to you are no match for the joy of knowing what you have been able to do for others through expressing the bounty of generosity within you. This also talks about corralling that torrent of abundant energy in your favor. Has to do, and I talked about this as well earlier, like, you don't have to be like fully altruistic and charitable with your whole life's mission, but think about why you're doing things. Why do you want to make something? Why do you want to bring something into existence? If it's purely and only so that you get rich, then that's not going to really be well supported by the universe. Maybe you want to make something that is going to have a My iPad storage is full. My iPad storage got full, so I have to continue the video on my phone, which is cracked, so I look like I'm in like a little fractured fishbowl, or like I'm talking to you from the inside of a crystal. But anyway, this video is almost done. I was saying, well, you know what I was saying, because I'll patch it together seamlessly, but these ideas, if they are to be divinely supported, then and you don't have to think about that. That's not a prerequisite to having a good idea. It could be as simple as like, other people like your music, other people like your art. Okay, and then it's saying the accolades, the bounty. That's a natural byproduct of following what it is that you feel like you're guided to create and share. So there's also a protection message for this, and it says, do you doubt that you can do much good? Are you stuck in a state of scarcity, thinking, who am I to lead, or who am I to step up in my dream? Who am I to have an amazing relationship? Who am I to think I can help? This is the self-doubt that I was talking about, the prisons of like running away and avoiding. We had 8 of Swords, 2 of Swords, and 6 of Swords to speak to that earlier in my reading. Lion Spirit is here to tell you that the antidote for low self-esteem is stepping into healthy pride. Yellow energy, solar plexus. Of course you can do all that you desire. The spark of Great Spirit lives inside you, and you are here to steward that amazing energy into the world. Lion Spirit knows that Great Spirit invested in you so that you might be a channel for Spirit's love and generosity. Take pride in your role, seeking to bring an abundance of love into the world. Perhaps you do much good already, but you're feeling unappreciated, wanting to hold back your gifts and hoard them for yourself. This is that Four of Pentacles coveting energy, not feeling like there's enough to share, or like you've already tried and it hasn't worked. That's also a self-limiting belief, because energy just keeps on moving. There is no such thing as trying and not having it work out when you have the courage to keep going, regardless of what's happened. And that's the whole notion of being validated from within, instead of looking for external validation, and knowing that to do something and to feel like it's what you're meant to do is enough, right? Regardless of what comes of it. And then the momentum will come, and you'll have this sense of reward through being able to continuously move that energy along and see your world change as a result of that, because you're not in like a stagnation or a hoarding energy. Maybe you're looking for attention and praise. Maybe you were even being generous with the expectation that you would be entitled to a repayment. Know that the real magic happens when you remember that there is always enough and you are always enough. Give freely without agenda or expectation, and let Lion Spirit remind you that in giving, you receive. Then you will see that you are appreciated. Stop comparing yourself to others and seeing yourself as less than, for within you is a wellspring of generosity. Yeah, and I also see that as like, when we want to do something because we want attention and praise, it's because there's an unhealed part of ourselves. I'm seeing like an inner child who just really wanted to satisfy their parents, because their parents only maybe showed them love when they performed a certain way. That's going to create an adult who needs to be, maybe they're super career oriented because their mark of success and therefore value from within is by being able to accomplish certain things, right? It's that need for validation from the outside. So if you want to do certain things just for attention and praise, you need to be able to give yourself that attention and praise and then go forward without strings attached to your creative efforts, because they're going to be convoluted with that ego self, right? There's a wounded ego self involved if that's the case. All right. Have an absolutely magical day. Thanks for being here with me today on this fine day. It's July 10th. And I hope that you're well, and that's all I got for now.